Hello, hello. Welcome to the Schoolboy Soy stream. It is Splitgate Sophism Sunday today, and we'll be talking about Stoicism. Living in agreement with nature. We'll be started in just a moment here. Hello, hello. It's so cold. It hit a low of 22 last night, and there is no running water on the bus right now, which sucks. Not fun. I guess our water hose that's leading up to the bus froze. Yeah, so a bit unpleasant, which is funny because yesterday it was 75 during the day. Like, just enjoying the day outside. It was very nice. And it all froze over last night, so I'm quite cold at this moment. It is chilly in here. But that's alright. So yeah, today's conversation is going to be about Stoicism. I guess we're welcoming the new year with Stoic indifference. Let's switch over to this screen here so we can check out what we've got prepared. This is today's outline. So there's a video we're going to watch from TED Ed. You know, like the TED Talks. They have an educational channel that makes kind of simpler videos, a bit easier to understand generally. But this is a good one. It's fairly detailed, and all this stuff is covered in that video. And I've got a book here that I wanted to read from, the philosophy book. I really like this thing. It's quite well organized, and it kind of sums up things, and it's got pictures and good outlines and lots of colorful colors, and yeah. We'll be reading through, let's see, a section on Diogenes' Cynic philosophy, as well as Zeno's Stoic approach. So let's see here. Let's see if we can perhaps get started maybe with a game of Splitgate, and then switch over into a more philosophical approach. Score the most points, damage, 5 headshot kills. Alright, I think we can do SWAT for that. So, you may have heard the term Stoic, or the term Stoicism, being used to refer to kind of a emotional indifference to things, which, you know, is not too far off from Zeno's intention. So let's actually switch screens here. We'll get going with the whole philosophizing momentarily. Let's make sure. Alright, cool. Everyone loves lava well, huh? Alright, well, you know what? I don't think I've seen that number at 7 before, so I will promote it further. I think I fixed the stream avatars. There was an issue with it before. It wasn't working, so it should be working now. So if you chat, it should pop up. Alright. I gotta get 5 headshots here. I think I can handle that. Oh, man. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, so we'll get talking about Xeno Obsidia momentarily here. Just kind of want to warm up. Make sure I'm capable of getting some kills here. Oh no. Not ideal. Okay, alright. Not too bad. Stoic indifference. Let's see. Ooh. Painful. Alright, so I'm at 1 out of 5 kills so far. Let's see if we can get that to a more round 5. I need the headshots specifically, so this is not going hot at all for me. Is there a... yeah. Oh, good. Was that a headshot? Yes, it was. Alright. At 2. Sounds good to me. Gained the lead. Lost the lead. No good. No good. Huh. Let's switch. Let's switch here. See if this will afford me any benefits. It ain't working out, is it? Okay, I'll take it. I like that. Oh, man. Alright, alright. Okay. Whoa! No good. Alright, well, I'm at what, 4? I think? 6? 4? 4. Ah. Maybe I should snipe. Maybe that'll give me more success here. No, nope. Alright. Something. Nope. Yeah, interesting. Woo! Painful. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh man, come on, don't tell me that. I really hope I got to 5. Let's see. Let us see. All right. Wonderful. So let me switch things over here. What's next? Score the most points on the team and inflict a set amount of damage. Let's also try to get this done here. Oddball and sniper rifle. I don't think Big Head Snipers is going to be very easy on this TV here in the distance. Let's check out this video here. Yeah. You know what? Let's do the reading first, actually. Let's do this a bit out of order from what's up here. All right, so I'm going to be reading first something coming a little bit before Stoicism, which is the... Oh, no, that's not the right one. Diogenes. Diogenes, the famed dog-like scholar with the cynical approach to things. So he founded the school of cynicism, popularized it, and that led to Zeno founding the Stoic school. Yeah, so the approach is cynicism. Some inspirations prior to Diogenes' work. In the late 5th century BCE, Socrates teaches that the ideal life is one spent in search of truth. In the early 4th century BCE, Socrates' pupil Antisthenes advocates an ascetic life lived in harmony with nature. Some post-Diogenic influences. 301 BCE, influenced by Diogenes, Zeno of Citium founds the school of Stoics. So that's what we'll be talking about for the remainder of today. And in the 4th century, St. Augustine of Hippo denounces the often shameless behavior of the Cynics, although they become the model for several ascetic Christian orders. Let me see if I can turn on this light here. Turn on the table backlight. Okay, I hope that's not too bright. It does help see the book. So, and in 1882, Friedrich Nietzsche refers to Diogenes and his ideas in The Gay Science. So Diogenes lived from about 404 to 323 BCE. He has the most who is most content with the least. Plato once described Diogenes as a Socrates gone mad. Although this was meant as an insult, it is not far from the truth. Diogenes shares Socrates' passion for virtue and rejection of material comfort, but takes these ideas to the extreme. He argues that in order to lead a good life, or one that is worth living, it is necessary to free oneself from the external restrictions imposed by society and from the internal discontentment that is caused by desire, emotion, and fear. And we'll see this idea reflected in Zeno's Stoicism. This can be achieved, he states, by being content to live a simple life, governed by reason and natural impulses, rejecting conventions without shame, and renouncing the desire for property and comfort. And we'll see that to this end, Diogenes lived a life of poverty covered in rags and just, fulfilling his basal desires without any other more refined cares in the world, right? He was known to urinate and masturbate in the streets and just so he was often compared to a dog, right? Because he just did whatever he pleased, and it was not much concern to him how it came off. Diogenes was the first of a group of thinkers who became known as the Cynics, a term taken from the Greek kunikos, meaning dog-like. It reflects the determination of the Cynics to spurn all forms of social custom and etiquette, and instead live in as natural a state as possible. They asserted that the more one can do this, as Diogenes himself did, by living a life of poverty, with only an abandoned tub for shelter, the nearer one will be to leading the ideal life. The happiest person, who, in Diogenes' phrase, has the most, is therefore someone who lives in accordance with the rhythms of the natural world, free from the conventions and values of civilized society, and is content with the least. So that's Diogenes' take on things. Funny guy. Funny guy who chose to live in a tub. I mean, that's kind of cool. There's something kind of cool about that. So let's move on from this sort of cynic background and move into Stoicism itself. So this was, in large part inspired by Diogenes' cynicism, and Zeno founded the school of Stoicism, and there were a number of other people that carried the torch forward. Some big names in the school are Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, etc., etc. So some inspirations here. Circa 380 BC, Plato states his thoughts on ethics and the city-state and the republic. And, of course, cynicism as well with Diogenes. Some Zeno-inspired things from 40 to 445 CE. Roman statesman and philosopher Seneca the Younger continues the Stoic tradition in his dialogues. And circa 150 to 180, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius writes his 12-volume Meditations on Stoic Philosophy. And in 1584, English humanist Justus Lipsius writes De Constantia, combining Stoicism with Christianity to found a school of Neo-Stoicism. All right. Without further ado, we have Zeno of Citium, circa 332 to 265 BCE. The goal of life is living in agreement with nature. Hence the title of today's video. Two main schools of philosophical thought emerged after Aristotle's death. These were the hedonistic, godless ethic of Epicurus, which had limited appeal, and the more popular and longer-lasting Stoicism of Zeno of Citium. Zeno studied with a disciple of Diogenes, the Cynic, and shared his no-nonsense approach to life. He had little patience with metaphysical speculation and came to believe that the cosmos was governed by natural laws that were ordained by a supreme lawgiver. Man, he declares, is completely powerless to change this reality, and in addition to enjoying its many benefits, man also has to accept its cruelty and injustice. So this is a big part of Stoicism, is this temperance and indifference to, the events of life and an acceptance thereof. However, Zeno also declares that man has been given a rational soul with which to exercise free will. No one is forced to pursue a good life. It is up to the individual to choose whether to put aside the things over which he has little or no control, and be indifferent to pain and pleasure, poverty and riches. But if a person does so, Zeno is convinced that he will achieve a life that is in harmony with nature in all its aspects, good or bad, and live in accordance with the rulings of the supreme lawgiver. Stoicism was to find favor across much of Hellenistic Greece. But it drew in even more followers in the expanding Roman Empire, where it flourished as a basis for ethics, both personal and political, until it was largely supplanted by Christianity in the 6th century. See also Plato, Aristotle, Epicurus, and Diogenes. A quote from Zeno, "Happiness is a good flow of life." Okay, cool. It's a good start. Why did I close the book? It's good to keep it open. So, yeah, here we have Stoicism. You can see the clear inspiration from cynicism. I think cynicism put more, let's say, put more of a locus of control on the individual. Rather than an acceptance of the events of life, cynicism was a bit more empowering and focusing on the self and the kind of living in the moment perspective on that. Whereas Stoicism is about passive reactivity and taking things as they come. Meanwhile, Epicurus and this Epicureanism that's been mentioned a few times, that was a philosophy more of living a life with logic and order and without having to deal with pain, and more of a focus on pleasure and that good life that would come as a result of that. Let's see if we can pull up this video here. All right, so Diogenes lived this dog-like life, right? The Greek word kunikos, meaning dog life, is where the cynic term came from. And it's funny, the term Stoicism comes from stoa poikile, or painted porch, which is where Zeno taught. Right. I will pull this up. We're going to load another game of Splitgate here. Let's see what... Oddball, snipers. Now, let's see if I can turn down the game a little bit so we can hear the video. I hope this audio mix is acceptable. Alright, we'll see. I have my 100 loot boxes here, by the way. So I am prepared to open these all in one stream at some point. I'm not sure quite when I will do that, but I think that'll be exciting. Oh, again, and credit goes to TED Ed. There is a good TED Talk from Massimo Pigliucci about this, and I think this kind of condenses it down into a good little animated video. So, without further ado, turn off the table backlight. The lights are still controlled. Yeah, okay.
You've been stranded thousands of miles from home with no money or possessions. Such a predicament would make many people despair and curse their awful fate. But for Zeno of Cyprus, it became the foundation of his life's work and legacy. The once wealthy merchant lost everything when he was shipwrecked in Athens around 300 BCE. With not much else to do, he wandered into a bookshop, became intrigued by reading about Socrates, and proceeded to seek out and study with the city's noted philosophers. As Zeno began educating his own students, he originated the philosophy known as Stoicism, whose teachings of virtue, tolerance, and self-control have inspired generations of thinkers.
Virtue, tolerance, self-control.
The name Stoicism comes from the Stoa Poikile, the decorated public colonnade
painted
where
porch
Zeno and his disciples gathered for discussion. Today, we colloquially use the word stoic to mean someone who remains calm under pressure and avoids emotional extremes. But while this captures important aspects of Stoicism, the original philosophy was more than just an attitude.
Screwed that up.
The Stoics believed that everything around us operates according to a web of cause and effect, resulting
a rational
in a rational
perspective
of the universe, which they call
logic.
Logos. And while we may not always have control over the events affecting us, we can have control over how we approach things. Rather than imagining an ideal society, the Stoic tries to deal with the world as it is, while pursuing self-improvement through 4 cardinal virtues.
Okay, these are key. Wisdom.
Practical wisdom, the ability to navigate complex situations in a logical, informed, and calm manner. Temperance, the exercise of self-restraint and moderation in all aspects of life.
Temperance.
Justice,
That temperance thing is kind of what people generally refer to when they refer to Stoicism, kind of as a colloquial term in modern usage.
treating others with fairness, even when they have done wrong. And courage, not just in extraordinary circumstances, but facing daily challenges with clarity and integrity. As Seneca, one of the most famous Roman Stoics, wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." But while Stoicism focuses on personal improvement, it's not a self-centered philosophy. At a time when Roman laws considered slaves as property, Seneca called for their humane treatment and stressed that we all share the same fundamental humanity.
I gotta
Nor
kill.
does Stoicism encourage passivity. The idea is that only people who have cultivated virtue and self-control in themselves can bring positive change in others. One of the most famous Stoic writers was also one of Rome's greatest emperors. Over the course of his 19-year reign, Stoicism gave Marcus Aurelius the resolve to lead the empire through 2 major wars while dealing with the loss of many of his children. Centuries later, Marcus's journals would guide and comfort Nelson Mandela through his 27-year imprisonment during his struggle for racial equality in South Africa. After his release and eventual victory, Mandela stressed peace and reconciliation, believing that while the injustices of the past couldn't be changed, his people could confront them in the present and seek to build a better, more just future. Stoicism was an active school of philosophy for several centuries in Greece
Stoic
and Rome.
indifference.
As a formal institution, it faded away, but its influence has continued to this day. Christian theologians such as Thomas Aquinas have admired and adopted its focus on the virtues, and there are parallels between Stoic ataraxia, or tranquility of mind, and the Buddhist concept of nirvana. One particularly influential Stoic was the philosopher Epictetus, who wrote that suffering stems not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them. This has resonated strongly with modern psychology.
Right, so you can choose how you react to things. You may not be able to control the events themselves in your lives, or singular life. I don't know you, but wow.
And the self-help movement. For example, rational emotive behavioral therapy focuses on changing the self-defeating attitudes people form about their life circumstances. There's also Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. Informed by Frankl's own time.
So recall then logos, right? The vocab word we learned earlier.
As a concentration camp prisoner, logotherapy is based on the Stoic principle that we can harness our willpower to fill our lives with meaning, even in the bleakest situations.
Man, I'm bad at this game. Oh. I thought that was good. That was fairly well condensed video there. So I've learned I'm not very good at multitasking both of these things at the same time. So let's try to wrap this game up and then chat about what we've learned here. Now we've got the ball. That's good. And we will approach this game with stoic indifference. So even if this railgun guy gets me, we'll find that we have peace in accepting that to be the case. Right? And we'll find that we have peace in accepting our victory to be the case and not gloat. These things happen. To the best of us, to the worst of us. Where are you wonderful folks at? Yeah, I almost got that, surprisingly. Ay, ay, ay. Ah, wonderful. Here, I can do my little thinking emote. Boom, boom. More stoic indifference in people's reactions to losing Might promote less toxicity in the gaming world. Okay, so what's our last challenge here? Do the most damage or something like that, I believe? Score the most points. Okay, perhaps we can do that with a good old game of... No, domination's probably the easiest way to do that. I think. Just run. Thing to thing, you know? Not that hard. Right, so, you know, Zeno of Cyprus, the originator of the Stoic philosophy, preached virtue, tolerance, and self-control, and believed in this logical and rational structure of the universe that he called logos. So even though we may lack control over events in our lives, we control our reactions to events. And this is a pretty key thing in modern psychology and psychotherapy, as was discussed. Rational emotive behavioral therapy and logotherapy kind of tackle that, but a much more commonplace, or much more common modern therapeutic approach is cognitive behavioral therapy, which shares a lot of these elements, right? So the idea there is that there's cognition, there's behavior, and there is feelings or emotions. And it can be kind of hard to control certain aspects of those. But if you're able to change the way that you think about things, then you can influence your feelings and you can influence your behaviors. Or likewise, if you can change the way that you act towards something, as these are inextricably linked on all sides of the triangle. If you can change your behavior, then you can change your feelings, or then you can change how you think about things. There's a double-sided arrow essentially pointing between all these corners. And I think that's pretty neat. That to some degree this goes back to Zeno of Citium from a long, long time ago. Let's see here. If I can turn this game back up now that we don't have a video going on. I hope this isn't too loud. And it is chilly. Okay. So these four cardinal virtues of Stoicism, wisdom, temperance, justice, courage, they sound like pretty good virtues overall. And they did inform, you know, later bases of further ethical schools. So it was discussed, who was it that was in the video? Aquinas, I believe, St. Thomas Aquinas, you know, took these as inspiration. Don't quote me on that. Wisdom, logical informed decision making, temperance, self-restraint and moderation, justice, always treating others with fairness, courage, clarity and integrity in facing daily life head on. I mean, these are good virtues. These are good ideals to strive for. We had Seneca's quote in there, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Briefly mentioned Marcus Aurelius, famed Stoic Roman emperor, with his 12-volume meditations that he wrote. Ataraxia, the tranquility of mind, that was mentioned to bear parallels to Buddhist nirvana. And there was a quote from Epictetus, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Alright, let's see here. We start with First Blood. Wonderful. Headshot First Blood, nonetheless. I'll take it. I'll take it. Assist kill. Not too bad. Again, Stoic Indifference. I'm going to try to practice that these games here. Okay, cool. So now we got to go to the next... Is this C? Is that what? Yep. Sure is. Oh, man. Not ideal. Not ideal. Okay. Let's go down here. Like it. Do I have the most points? Yes, I do. Wonderful. And we're winning. Incredible. Yep. Stoic. Stoic. Not sure where that came from. That is my enemy. My foe. Okay. Well, if we've got everything here. Ah. Oof, oof, oof. Capturing C. Capturing C. There we go. So, still in first, points-wise. We're going to get this daily challenge. Wonderful. Definitely the wrong weapon to use for that. Okay. We're good. We're great. Never been better. Oh. Have all of them. There we go. Thinking man. Who's my little stoic philosopher here? Getting C. Then we will run. I wonder if this is a team of bots. Maybe not. Red shirt sounds suspicious. But then again, I suppose School Bus Soy does too. I think we're about to default to winning at 600, I believe. Yep. Don't know what that noise was. Nice. We've done it. Gotten another thing here. So I think if there's not active discussion, which there will be at some point, you know, once this channel grows a bit, but I think I'm gonna keep these simpler streams without a chat, probably a little shorter. Just to kind of keep everything succinct and to keep it at the meat and bones and not add extraneous time just spent playing Splitgate and muttering to myself. I'm still sort of figuring out exactly how I'm gonna approach everything. Let's see here. Do I want to be in the intermission screen? No, let's just be on my whole camera here. But yeah, I mean, we did some Splitgate. We did some good old Sophism. Talked about Zeno, Diogenes, cynicism, Stoicism, and tried to practice a Stoic approach during these games. Two quotes I want to leave everyone with. He has the most, who is most content with the least, that is Diogenes. And the goal of life is living in agreement with nature. I don't know if these are quotes, actually. I think these are just general statements from these people. But yeah, that's all I've got. If we had a chat going here, and maybe we could extend things a bit further and talk about things. I want to thank again Ted Ed for producing that wonderful animation and that informative video. And I want to shout out the philosophy book, Big Ideas Simply Explained. It's just a good primer intro to a lot of philosophical topics and concepts. It covers things across the world and across time. So this goes to contemporary philosophy, and it starts with, you know, Thales of Miletus of ancient Greece. So yeah, pretty good book. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching this live or if you're watching a VOD, I appreciate you. And I will try to stream during the week this week. We'll see. Again, I'm figuring out my flow. I'm figuring out my schedule. I'm still figuring everything out. But I will try to do some midweek streams instead of just Friday and Sunday. We will still be having Fortnite Philosophy Friday on Friday, and we'll still be having Splitgate Sophism Sunday. But I think I might add some weekday streams in there as I'm figuring things out. I just picked up a gig as a contractual editor for a publication assistance communications company, where I'll be doing editing for like peer review for neurology and neuroscience. So that's kind of exciting. So I don't know exactly how that's going to fit into my schedule. I'm just, again, figuring it all out. But yeah, maybe something I was considering doing for streaming is Wacky Wordsmith Wednesdays or Wacky Wordy Wednesdays, where I free write and do some more reading. I don't know if people will like the reading content or not, but let me know. So, what is that emoji? It's a thumbs up. Thumbs up to you too. All right. Oh, look, you got your little dinosaur. Oh, that's wonderful. Look at that. All right. See you guys.